In this demonstration, we're going to use OpenSearch and Prometheus in order to analyze an issue with this book info app. So in order for us to understand what's going on, I'm using Kiali here to display the visual of this product page service that's being invoked through a HA proxy ingress point by a K6 load test. Okay, so we have a load test that's coming through here. It's hitting the product page. We also have Istio configured, and we'll see that there's an issue with this rating service, which is artificially performing slowly because we've injected a latency into this service. So the reviews service in turn will become slow, causing the overall product page service to perform slowly. So we have this running, and then we have our spans in OpenSearch. And so there's a lot of traces, and I've filtered here to see some traces that have, response times over 2 seconds. So these are milliseconds here, and so you see the spans here. And so the goal is to see how Hawkeye can leverage OpenSearch and other tracing backends in order to do root cause analysis. So what we have in Hawkeye is a incident that was triggered through a alert configured with Prometheus Alert Manager that's been forwarded to our PagerDuty as an incident. So we see the actual incident has already been resolved, but this is the original alert coming from PagerDuty. The investigation was automated by Hawkeye. So this is our book info project. And so you see the investigation basically starts with this context of the alert of the PagerDuty incident. And so we have an investigation that was performed. And if we look at the analysis, you can tell that, the service involved is book info. But let's look at the chain of thought. So you see here that OpenSearch is being used by Hawkeye to first get the span traces, but also the pod logs. And so it's asking itself, what are the trace spans with duration greater than 1 second on the product page service in the book info namespace. So it's really like doing a thorough analysis of all the spans available, response codes, etc., getting the information from OpenSearch and performing its analysis, right? So on the first pass of the analysis, it asks itself 4 questions. What are the trace spans with durations greater than 1 second? It's also looking at things like CPU and memory on the pod to see if it can find an explanation. And it's summarizing its findings here. The key findings being that there's multiple high latency spans detected, that the latency range is between 2 and 3 seconds, exceeding our threshold, and the highest latency is 2.9 seconds, right? And it provides some service details here on what it found, the request characteristics, performance patterns, infrastructure context, etc. Now, this was not fully conclusive, so it asked itself a follow-up question, which is what is the distribution of response sizes from the review service during the high latency periods, and is there a correlation between response size and latency duration? And so to analyze this, it came up with a second chain of thought, which starts with this question: what are the response payload sizes? So you see it's getting a lot of information that's available from the spans in OpenSearch in order to analyze what's going on. And here the analysis of the response sizes shows that there's only two distinct payload sizes, and the distribution appears to be fairly even between those two sizes. So it kind of eliminated the payload size, which makes sense because this is an artificial test where we're sending the same payload over and over again. So the next question that it asked is, can you check what downstream services is causing the high latency? So here we're kind of done with analyzing the front-end service throwing the alert, and we're going to use the spans to go check downstream services, right? And then this is where we're going to see that the review service is the primary contributor to the high latency in our product page service. So this kind of showcases how Hawkeye can leverage OpenSearch, in this case OpenSearch spans and logs, but can also look at metrics in order to perform a thorough analysis of a application latency issue, in this case, that was artificially introduced.